In a secluded mansion lived Dennis, a boy who had never experienced the outside world due to his mother's protective measures. Locked away to shield him from potential harm, Dennis yearned for companionship, and his life took a transformative turn when he encountered a girl named Sabrina. Dennis had spent his entire life within the walls of an elegant, imposing mansion, shielded from the outside world by his overprotective mother, Julia. His existence was marked by isolation, a product of a medical condition that rendered his immune system fragile and prone to a myriad of illnesses. Julia's intense fear of these potential dangers led her to keep Dennis confined, relentlessly impressing upon him the notion that any contact with the outside world would be nothing short of perilous. Growing up within the mansion's luxurious but suffocating confines, Dennis had never encountered another soul apart from his devoted mother. His knowledge of the world beyond was limited to the tales spun by Julia, who painted a haunting picture of a world brimming with unseen dangers, a world where interaction with others was synonymous with impending doom. These stories of rampant diseases and malicious individuals became etched into Dennis's psyche, his beliefs forged by a reality he had no reason to question. Everything shifted one fateful day, though, as a new family breathed life into the long-abandoned house situated just across the street. It was a captivating spectacle that Dennis had never witnessed before. The arrival of people who bore no threat, who were not embodiments of the perils his mother had ingrained in him. Julia was temporarily absent, leaving Dennis unattended to peer from his window and observe the family's arrival. His eyes fixated on them, particularly on a girl of his own age who exuded an aura of youthful curiosity. She was accompanied by an enchanting orange cat, a symbol of companionship and freedom. Intrigued by the juxtaposition of his mother's ominous teachings and the warm reality displayed before him, Dennis couldn't help but be drawn to this family. Their interactions were seamless, filled with laughter, camaraderie, and the kind of affection Dennis had only dreamt of. The enchanting girl across the street became a symbol of the friendship he yearned for, a tangible embodiment of the connections he had only fantasized about. As the days passed, Dennis found himself spending more time observing the family, especially the girl. Their gestures of kindness and the genuine love they shared was a stark contrast to the cold, unforgiving world Julia had described. Doubt began to creep into Dennis's mind, challenging the truths he had accepted without question. The girl's infectious laughter, the carefree way she played with her feline companion, all became catalysts for Dennis to question the veracity of his mother's narrative. Dennis stood at a crossroads, torn between the security of the familiar world his mother had woven for him and the allure of a life filled with genuine connection and friendship. The arrival of the new family had ignited a spark within him, a desire to experience the world beyond the mansion's walls. Little did he know, this encounter would set him on a journey of self-discovery, testing the boundaries of his beliefs and ultimately leading him to uncover the truth about the world, the people in it, and his own capacity for connection. Excitedly, Dennis rushed to recount every intricate detail of the new family across the street to his mother upon her return. His words bubbled over with enthusiasm as he described the presence of a child around his age and the prospect of finally having a friend to share his world with. However, his mother's response was as stern as it was familiar, a strict order to steer clear of any interactions with them. Julia's eyes bore into Dennis with a mix of concern and fear, reiterating the potential risks that lurked beyond the mansion's protective walls. Dennis, his longing for companionship unabated, dared to plead with his mother, his voice trembling with a blend of desperation and hope. He bared his heart, expressing the ache that had grown within him, craving a connection that stretched beyond his mother's presence. But Julia's stance remained unyielding. She brushed aside his pleas, her unwavering commitment to her warnings evident in her voice and demeanor. The following morning, the world outside Dennis's windows was obscured by the wooden barriers that now sealed them shut. The brilliant sunlight that once filtered into his sanctuary was replaced by shadows and a sense of confinement. His heart felt heavy as he gazed at the boards that stood as a barrier between him and the outside world. As the days evolved into weeks, the memory of the new family began to recede from Dennis's mind, leaving only the echo of his fervent desires for friendship. But life has its own way of surprising us, of rekindling the embers of curiosity and breaking through barriers. One day, from behind the attic door, strange noises reached Dennis's ears, pulling at his attention like an irresistible magnet. His mother's warnings resonated in his mind, urging him to stay put, to resist the allure of the unknown. Yet curiosity got the better of him. With a mixture of trepidation and intrigue, he carefully opened the attic door, only to be met with an unexpected sight: two pairs of eyes peering back at him. Startled and overwhelmed, Dennis's senses briefly betrayed him, and he crumpled to the floor in a faint. When his consciousness returned, he was met with the sensation of a rough tongue licking his face, jolting him awake. The orange cat, the harbinger of connection, stood beside him, accompanied by the very girl Dennis had yearned to know, Sabrina. Dennis's initial shock rendered him momentarily speechless, but Sabrina's light-hearted comment pierced the tension, and he managed to find his voice. With a mixture of curiosity and concern, Dennis questioned Sabrina about her presence and how she had come to be in his home. Sabrina's eyes twinkled with warmth as she recounted the antics of her adventurous cat, who had managed to climb to the attic window, inadvertently forging a path for her to follow. She reassured Dennis that her entry had been unintentional, laced with an apology for the unexpected intrusion. In the presence of those two pairs of eyes, Dennis found his world tilting on its axis. He recalled his mother's warnings, the steadfast fear she had instilled within him. Panic seized him as he demanded to know whether the cat carried diseases, his voice tinged with urgency. Sabrina, taken aback by his frantic response, took a step closer, a gesture of reassurance. With kindness in her voice, she explained that the cat posed no threat, that he was safe from harm. Her words were soothing, her presence calming the tempest that had churned within Dennis's mind. Slowly, over the course of several hours, laughter replaced tension, and games replaced fear. As they played, Dennis felt something he hadn't experienced in the confines of his mansion. A connection, a genuine interaction that surpassed the boundaries Julia had erected. When Sabrina eventually departed the attic, her promise to return the next day rang in Dennis's ears like a melodic refrain. In the moments after Sabrina's departure, Dennis's external facade remained unchanged, a mask of normalcy, concealing the storm of emotions that churned within him. Secretly, he eagerly awaited the dawn of the new day, a day that held the promise of friendship, connection, and the unraveling of a world he had long yearned to explore. Dennis's cautious steps into friendship with Sabrina marked a new chapter in his life. Clad in long sleeves and practicing distance, he found solace in the companionship that had eluded him for so long. The stolen moments they shared were like precious gems, illuminating the shadows of his solitude and casting a warm glow over his existence. Weeks turned into a month, and their secret meetings remained undiscovered, a hidden haven away from the watchful eyes of Dennis's mother, Julia. However, fate has a way of unraveling secrets, and on an ordinary day, Julia returned home earlier than usual. Her steps faltered as she caught sight of Sabrina, like a puzzle piece falling into place. With a mixture of concern and urgency, Julia hastened to her son's side, her voice trembling as she called out his name. Dennis's heart raced as he reached her side, Sabrina trailing behind, her presence a testament to their blossoming connection. In the charged silence that followed, Julia's voice was tinged with disbelief as she demanded answers. Who is she? Why is she here? Dennis met his mother's gaze, a mix of determination and vulnerability in his eyes. Mom, she's the girl from across the street. She's my friend. His words hung in the air, a gentle assertion that carried the weight of his newfound bond. Julia's shock was palpable as she grappled with the reality of her son's secret world. The revelation of the cat's involvement only deepened her distress. Her cat did what? Her voice trembled, her fear and confusion laid bare. Dennis held his ground, his conviction unwavering. Why did you lie, Mother? If nothing has happened since I've known Sabrina, it means I can go outside. The truth, once exposed, cast doubt on the walls of protection Julia had erected. Julia's voice wavered, her defenses crumbling as she revealed a truth long buried beneath her facade. I did it to protect you, Dennis, your father and sister. they perished outside. I couldn't bear losing you too. Her eyes welled with tears, her anguish laid bare. The weight of Julia's admission hung heavy in the air, a moment of reckoning that exposed the depths of her love and the mistakes born from it. Dennis's realization cut through the layers of their history, revealing the heartache that had driven her actions. Amid the charged atmosphere, a profound understanding passed between them. Dennis's voice, though soft, carried immense forgiveness. I forgive you, Mom. I just want to be able to spend time with other kids. His words bridged the chasm between them, a step towards healing. Tears flowed freely as their emotions mingled, a cathartic release of the pain that had long been suppressed. Sabrina, a silent witness, gave them space to process their feelings. This pivotal moment marked a turning point. Julia, humbled and remorseful, relinquished her grip on her fears, granting Dennis the freedom to explore. Their journey of reconciliation began, wounds healing and connections deepening. As days unfolded, the world beckoned with new possibilities, offering a fresh start for both mother and son, and a future enriched by the bonds that had finally been embraced. This heartwarming tale teaches us the power of connection, the weight of well-intentioned actions, and the healing that can come from acknowledging our mistakes. It's a story of a boy who overcame isolation, a mother who learned to let go, and a friendship that changed everything.